Through my research and through what I was taught, I learned that there is a very logical way of showing that abortion is wrong. It is always the direct killing of an innocent human life.
If you think abortion's murder, then I'm anti-murder. I get why people are coming from it that way, but to me, I don't see the fetus as a living being. I just see it as a clump of cells.
I know that some people make the argument that it's not a fully formed life, like it's not a human yet. I mean, I personally believe that life starts at conception.
You're telling me, oh, well, it's a human in there. Okay, first of all, it's a mass of cells. It's a blastocyst. A life and being, in terms of the law, is once it draws breath on the planet.
From a utilitarian standpoint, so what does the most good for the largest number of people? So to me, it doesn't do the potential baby any good to be born into a life that wasn't prepared for it. Most of the time, the other side aren't doing things to be bad. They're doing things because they see the world in a different way. So if you can just try and understand our point of view, that I think could help us both understand each other better.
I think the decision when and whether to have a child is a fundamental decision to how a person orders his or her life. It is a fundamental, huge shift, especially for the people who give birth.
That it is so important to see women outside of their potential as baby makers. And I think so much of that debate, especially on the pro-life side, that women are inherently meant to have children without taking in the kind of burden that children are.
And you should be allowed to decide whether or not you're going to embark on that.
And I think that a woman's right to choose her path in life and her health and her safety and her future should always come before that clump of cells.
In the United States, the 1973 Supreme Court decision Roe v. Wade ensured a woman's right to an abortion under the 14th Amendment, the right to medical privacy. In 1970, the anonymous Jane Roe was denied an abortion. Henry Wade, a Dallas DA, enforced the Texas law prohibiting abortion except to save a woman's life. The final Supreme Court ruling was that women could choose to have an abortion through the first trimester and states could regulate the second and third.
The abortion debate is so large, but it's not really the abortion debate. It's a women's rights debate. It's not just abortions that we are being judged on, but it's anything that we do with our bodies.
I would say the far right religious movement is the thing that single-handedly is the most responsible. There's a lot of people who pay fealty to that movement. Mitch McConnell, Trump. I mean, every Republican, in power in the Senate. They pass laws that restrict the right, and then the Supreme Court gets closer and closer to overturning Roe.
I don't think it has to be that, oh, I'm a Republican, therefore I must be pro-life. I'm a Democrat, I must be pro-choice. I think that those two sides don't inherently mean you're one political party or another.
And it's dangerous. They don't believe in half the stuff they spew. They're just doing it to get the votes so they can get reelected. But the side effect is that women are less and less able to rely on the fact that they will be able to make their own personal choices.
The 1992 case of Planned Parenthood versus Casey allowed the government of Pennsylvania to require women to wait 24 hours after receiving information to consent to an abortion. In 2007, Supreme Court upheld a law criminalizing certain procedures in the second trimester. In a minor pro-choice win, Whole Woman's Health versus Hellerstedt once again deemed Texas abortion laws unconstitutional. Now, many are calling to overturn Roe v. Wade entirely. If this movement succeeds, 20 states are poised to immediately ban abortions. Donald Trump's appointments of Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court were celebrated by anti-abortion groups and could succeed in reversing Roe v. Wade. While many believe that abortions are scary, most medical abortions are safe. It is illegal abortions that are dangerous. Abortions can be completed through at-home pills or doctor's office procedures. Abortions are very expensive. Without insurance, an abortion can cost thousands of dollars.
It's provided differently in some jurisdictions. There are more restrictions than in others. But here at our affiliate, we perform both therapeutic abortion and what's called medicated abortion. But that's only 3% of the medical care that we provide, and also medical care isn't the only thing we do.
So the first one I had, I was quite young. I was transitioning from high school to college, and made a mistake and got pregnant. So I went to college and I was pregnant, and I just decided this is definitely not something I'm ready for. I knew that I was in no position to be a parent to anyone. It wasn't like I sat with the thought for a long time and mulled over, should I, shouldn't I? It was just sort of an immediate, I'm not having a baby right now. I was just resourceful. I figured it out. We looked through yellow pages for Planned Parenthood. I had my friend take me, and it was just like not a big deal at that time. It was just, she dropped me off, she picked me up, life went on. I didn't have any remorse at the time. I didn't have, ever. Like I just went with the flow. Like this is just something I had to do.
Access to abortions is still a challenge.
It still amazes me how it's not very easy for women to find a doctor and a safe place to have abortion services, because abortion for many years was not part of training for many OBGYNs. So access to people who can provide abortion services is less than what you would think.
The second time was a little bit different. So I went to a clinic here in DC, and they were protesting that day. So that made the whole situation super stressful. They were screaming in my face. They were like trying to block the path, even though that was illegal. And the doctor was so mean to me. And it was really hard.
I had a friend, a roommate actually, who got pregnant. I couldn't tell her dad. Ended up going to the dean of students for girls, and it was basically too late for her to have an abortion. It would have been a super late term abortion. She ended up she hid it from almost everyone except 2 or 3 people. Ended up, having it, giving it up for adoption. It was a pretty traumatic experience. The reason she didn't say anything is because she was afraid of getting in trouble. The guy she'd been having sex with, nothing was going to happen to him. His life wasn't going to change. I thought it was fundamentally unfair that just because she happened to have a uterus, she was toast.
Crisis pregnancy centers are organizations that pose as abortion clinics run by religious pro-life people. They are usually located near real abortion clinics, so vulnerable people will be deceived. The staff have no medical credentials, but they tell patients that abortion causes cancer, infertility, and psychological damage. The main goal of these centers is to scare and shame patients or to delay an abortion until it is too late.
That conservative religious arm of American religion, which I think is a small percentage but has an outsized level of influence, which seeks only to keep women down and quiet, barefoot, and pregnant in the kitchen, busy, so you can't do anything else.